We need to stop blaming love for why we didn't achieve what we were supposed to. When we feel like we have to minimize ourselves for love, we get in relationships that where we have to play small and we feel like we can't be ourselves in order to receive love. And then when we get out of that relationship, we blame love and we blame that person for suffocating us and limiting us when the whole time is you can only be the limit of yourself. You're at a point in life where you believe that that love that that person has to give you is more than what you have to accomplish and the love that you have for yourself and the joy that comes from within, then you're going to sacrifice yourself because you feel like that's the only way for you to get love. I remember cutting off guy friends. I remember changing the way I dressed, changing the way I spoke, altering my personality, and just doing things that I thought was going to get me more love. Doing things that I thought was going to make someone like me more. And I would do this with romantic relationships and friendships. I remember fearing that one of my friends at the time wasn't going to be my friend anymore just because I wasn't American. Y'all, I don't know if that's like an extreme thing, but when I sat with those thoughts and the things that I did to change myself just because I thought it was going to get me more love or keep that person in my life, it made me realize that I didn't want to be in another relationship because I felt like I associated relationships with limitation and relationships with, oh, well, I can't be me if I'm in a relationship. I can't be successful if I'm in a relationship. I can't give my time here if I'm in a relationship because they're going to take too much of my time. Or what if they start asking for more than I can give? I just started separating myself because I felt like that separation led to my thriving, when all it did was separate me from what I truly wanted but felt wasn't safe, because for a long time it wasn't safe. And it came at the expense of myself. I always felt like growing up that it was the blame of my father for why my mother couldn't do this or couldn't do that, or us as women will be like, well, the man should have did this, or why didn't he do this? Sometimes we just need to admit that we're not strong enough to leave, that we're scared of what life will look like without this person, even if they're not the greatest at the moment, or even if it's only some benefits you're getting and they're minimal. We need to just admit, I was not strong enough to leave that person at that time, and I put it on them to leave me. Why would they leave you if you're doing everything to make them happy? A lot of us think we had some dumb men, but they was really smart, for real. Because why would they leave you if you're making their life easier and they don't have to do anything? You're not require anything. And vice versa. There's a lot of great men that are with women that just use them because they just want to provide and feel of use. So they perceive taking care of a woman as love, when they're not being taken care of, when that's not being reciprocated, because you're not requiring it, especially when you grow up parentified and you're the mother or the father of the household and of your parents and of your siblings. Now you definitely don't require it because you're so used to giving and people loving you because of how much you give and because of how much you show up and because of how much you make everyone's life easier. So what do? We go out and we date and we're like, oh yeah, I know how to love you, I just make your life easier. But you don't require them to make your life easy. And you're not trying to make your life easy. So then we say, oh yeah, I'm never getting in a relationship again because last time. And it's like, no, last time you just valued that person more. Versus when you start a relationship and it's based on reciprocity and it's based on truth and authenticity, those issues do not come up, because your relationship will not thrive if you're not being authentic. Versus in the other relationship, it was predicated on you sacrificing yourself. So it would not thrive if you stopped sacrificing yourself. That's what a lot of us confuse. And when you're on the way back from toxic relationships and you're trying to identify what safety looks like, we have to take the time to see where our self-worth was when we attracted those relationships, so we can see that we are no longer that person. But we also have to see where our self-worth was to see what it was that attracted us to that person. I remember one of my friends that I admired so much, and I still admire, that she was so beautiful to me. And I remember seeing her and thinking, oh, she wouldn't want to be friends with me. That is a thought that just came to me like 2 days ago. And when you don't have the highest self esteem and you're so excited to have a friend just because, again, you're projecting onto them that characteristics that you haven't even seen proven, then you're just grateful to be their friend and you don't care what it is that you have to go through because you're just grateful to be there. But you don't even know why you're grateful to be there, really. You don't know what you're grateful to be there for. And then you are looking at them through this rose-colored lens, so then you're projecting all of these good qualities that don't even exist yet. And they might do one thing and you feel like, oh yeah, see, I knew that this was a good person. I knew. And then you negate all the other things. When you see the energy that you were in and you start asking yourself what that energy looks like, and you start asking yourself why I was attracted to this friend, why I was attracted to this boyfriend or this girlfriend or this relationship, why I was attracted to this job and work environment, what am I angry about this work environment, you start seeing the energy that you were in when you started, and you start seeing the energy that you no longer are in, and the reason why you are uncomfortable, and the reason why you did grow apart, because you no longer are there. And even though you might have loved that person, you might still love that person, your relationship was literally based on you sacrificing yourself for that person, and they were okay with it. So be okay with safety. Learn to be okay with choosing people that want you to be the best version of yourself because they want to only be the best version of themselves. So you're in alignment because of that commonality. We have to learn how to identify safety in men and women. Otherwise, we're going to keep projecting and perpetuating these narratives that no longer exist because we're trying to protect ourselves. Love is not the problem. It's the lack of self-love that we have for ourselves that's the problem.